God almost completely destroyed humanity with the Great Flood, but an ancient text hidden for 2,000 years reveals the terrifying truth behind this divine punishment. The Book of Jubilees, banned by religious authorities and preserved only in Ethiopia's Orthodox Bible, contains secrets so dangerous they threaten the very foundations of organized religion. This text claims humanity has followed a false calendar for centuries and presents a divine 364-day calendar that exposes a cosmic war between order and chaos. But here's what makes this discovery extraordinary. The same calendar that was supposedly given by God to Moses also predicted every major catastrophe in human history, including the exact timing of the flood. And the mastermind behind humanity's corruption wasn't just human evil, but a specific demonic entity whose influence spans from the Garden of Eden to modern times. The first forbidden secret reveals why this calendar was truly banned. It wasn't just about religious authority, it was about hiding the mathematical proof of divine justice. Secret 1. The divine mathematics of justice. In 200 BC, during the turbulent Maccabean era, Jewish scholars recorded something extraordinary. They claimed an angel revealed to Moses a perfect calendar of exactly 364 days. This wasn't random. 364 divides into precisely 52 weeks with no remainder. Every sacred festival would fall on the same weekday year after year, creating an unbreakable pattern of divine order. But the temple priests in Jerusalem followed a lunar calendar, which required constant human adjustment. The Book of Jubilees declared this a catastrophic error. According to the text, the divine calendar recorded on heavenly tablets determined not just when to celebrate, but when divine judgment would strike. The flood itself occurred precisely according to this celestial schedule. Here's the terrifying implication that religious authorities tried to suppress. If God operates on a fixed calendar, then every act of divine judgment follows predictable mathematical cycles. This meant the timing of punishment and redemption wasn't mysterious divine will, but calculable celestial mechanics. The lunar calendar used by the temple obscured these patterns, making divine judgment seem random rather than systematic. The 364-day calendar revealed the hidden mathematics of cosmic justice, threatening any religious system that claimed exclusive authority to interpret God's timing. But this calendar controversy masks an even darker secret. The text reveals that humanity's corruption followed a specific pattern orchestrated by an entity whose name appears in almost every major biblical catastrophe. Secret 2. Mastema's systematic corruption. The Book of Jubilees identifies the architect of humanity's downfall, Mastema, the prince of evil spirits. Unlike the vague serpent in Genesis, Jubilees presents Mastema as a calculating strategist who appears at every crucial moment in biblical history. During the antediluvian period, Mastema orchestrated the fall of the Watchers, angelic beings who descended to earth. The text reveals these angels initially came to help humanity, but Mastema corrupted their mission. He convinced them to share forbidden knowledge, sorcery, weapon-making, and astrology. More catastrophically, he incited their lust for human women. The union of Watchers and humans produced the Nephilim, giants whose appetite knew no bounds. First, they devoured human food supplies. Then, they consumed animals. Finally, they turned to cannibalism, devouring humans themselves. The earth became saturated with violence because Mastema had weaponized the very beings sent to guide humanity. But Mastema's most cunning move came during God's decision to cleanse the earth. While God prepared to destroy all evil spirits born from the Nephilim, Mastema negotiated directly with the Creator. He argued that without evil spirits to test humanity, his role as tempter would become impossible. He requested permission to retain 1/10 of these demons. God granted this request. This meant the flood wasn't complete purification, but a strategic reduction of evil, leaving enough demonic influence to continue testing humanity. Mastema had turned even divine judgment into part of his long-term strategy. The 364-day calendar recorded these negotiations on the heavenly tablets, showing that even God's mercy followed the mathematical patterns of cosmic justice. Religious authorities banned this revelation because it suggested divine decisions weren't arbitrary acts of grace, but moves in a cosmic chess game with predictable rules. This systematic view of evil leads to the third secret, which reveals how the divine calendar enabled certain humans to predict and prepare for Mastema's attacks.
Secret 3. The Patriarchs' Prophetic System. The Book of Jubilees reveals that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob weren't just faithful men, but initiated guardians of the divine calendar system. They possessed advanced knowledge of Mastema's strategies because they could read the heavenly tablets that recorded all future events. Abraham's circumcision wasn't merely a covenant sign, but initiation into this prophetic system. According to Jubilees, circumcision existed on the heavenly tablets before creation itself. Angels in God's presence practiced this ritual, making it a cosmic law rather than a cultural practice. This gave Abraham access to angelic knowledge, including the timing of divine judgments according to the 364-day calendar. The text reveals Abraham received direct instruction from the angel of the presence, who taught him not only ritual practices, but the Hebrew language itself. Jubilees identifies Hebrew as the tongue spoken in heaven, meaning Abraham's education connected him directly to the divine communication network. More remarkably, Abraham studied ancient writings passed down from Noah and Enoch, texts that contained calendrical calculations spanning millennia. This knowledge enabled him to predict Sodom and Gomorrah's destruction, not through special revelation, but through mathematical analysis of the divine justice cycles. Isaac and Jacob inherited this system, explaining their prophetic abilities. Jacob's blessing of his sons wasn't inspired guesswork, but informed prediction based on calendrical patterns recorded on the heavenly tablets. Each son's future aligned with specific cycles in the 364-day system. The patriarchs celebrated festivals according to divine timing, not temple scheduling. They observed Shavuot, Sukkot, and other celebrations on their proper calendrical dates, maintaining the true rhythm of cosmic order while surrounding cultures followed corrupted lunar systems. This knowledge created a hidden lineage of calendar keepers who preserved divine timing through generations. Moses didn't receive entirely new revelation on Sinai, but restoration of the patriarchal calendar system that Mastema had worked to corrupt through Egyptian influence. But the patriarch's calendar knowledge connects to an even more disturbing truth about how individual sins are tracked and judged according to divine mathematical principles. Secret 4. the celestial debt system. The Book of Jubilees presents the most precise description of divine justice ever recorded. According to the text, every sin is literally inscribed as debt on the heavenly tablets, with specific calculations determining when payment comes due. This system operates according to the 364-day calendar, creating predictable cycles of judgment and redemption. The text reveals this through Joseph's story, but with shocking additional details. When his brothers sold him into slavery, their crime wasn't just recorded as a moral failure, but as a specific debt entry on the celestial tablets. The amount of this debt and its payment schedule followed mathematical principles embedded in the divine calendar. Years later, when the brothers faced famine and came to Egypt, they weren't experiencing random hardship, but systematic debt collection. Their suffering matched precisely the suffering they had inflicted on Joseph, calculated according to celestial accounting principles recorded before creation. But Jubilees reveals the system includes provisions for debt forgiveness. Genuine repentance doesn't erase the original debt record, but creates a matching credit entry on the same heavenly tablets. The brothers' eventual reconciliation with Joseph represented successful debt settlement according to divine calculation. This system explains the 49-year Jubilee cycles mentioned throughout the text. Every seventh sabbatical year, on the 364-day calendar, debts were systematically reviewed and eligible accounts were cleared. Human Jubilee celebrations weren't arbitrary traditions, but participation in cosmic debt management. Cain's murder of Abel illustrates the system's precision. The text states this crime created the first debt entry on the heavenly tablets, establishing the mathematical foundation for all future justice calculations. Abel's innocent blood didn't just cry out metaphorically, but generated a specific debt amount that required exact payment. The earth's reduced fertility after Abel's death represented automatic debt collection built into creation's operating system. The land itself became part of the celestial accounting, producing less abundance until Cain's debt was satisfied through the prescribed punishment cycles. Religious authorities banned this revelation because it reduced divine mercy to mathematical formulas and made God's justice appear mechanical rather than personal. The 364-day calendar enabled anyone with knowledge to calculate when debts would come due, threatening religious institutions that claimed exclusive authority to pronounce divine judgment. But this mathematical precision points toward the final and most dangerous secret, which reveals exactly when the ultimate debt settlement will occur.
Secret 5. The Mathematical Prophecy of Final Justice. The Book of Jubilees concludes with a prophetic vision that connects every previous secret into one comprehensive system. The angel of the presence revealed to Moses not just Israel's future apostasy and exile, but the precise timing of ultimate restoration according to the divine calendar's mathematical cycles. The prophecy operates on Jubilee cycles, periods of 49 years that create larger patterns spanning millennia. Israel's exile wouldn't be random punishment, but systematic debt collection according to celestial calculations. The temple's destruction, the scattering among nations, and the period of suffering all followed predetermined schedules recorded on the heavenly tablets. But the prophecy's most startling element reveals Mastema's ultimate defeat through the same calendar system he had tried to corrupt. The text states that evil's final overthrow will occur during a specific Jubilee cycle, when accumulated cosmic debts reach their mathematical limit and automatic restoration mechanisms activate. This restoration won't come through arbitrary divine intervention, but through the calendar system's built-in justice algorithms reaching their predetermined conclusion. The new heavens and new earth described in the prophecy represent not mystical transformation, but cosmic system reset according to the mathematical principles governing all reality. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church preserved this revelation because they maintained independence from institutions that sought to suppress calendarical knowledge. Their survival of the complete text proves the system's validity, as the prophecy predicted certain communities would preserve divine timing through the darkest periods. The Dead Sea Scrolls discovery in the 20th century provided additional confirmation. The Qumran community followed the same 364-day calendar and separated from the Jerusalem temple for precisely the reasons Jubilees predicted. Recognition that lunar calendar systems corrupted divine justice timing. Archaeological evidence now proves this calendar system existed exactly as the prophecy described, spanning from ancient Israel through Ethiopian preservation to modern rediscovery. This mathematical precision demonstrates that the Book of Jubilees wasn't human speculation, but systematic revelation of cosmic operating principles. The final prophecy warns that rejecting the divine calendar brings automatic judgment through the built-in justice mechanisms, while accepting it provides access to the restoration cycles that guarantee ultimate vindication for the faithful. The system's mathematical nature means this outcome is as certain as the calendar itself, operating independently of human religious institutions or their interpretations. This is why religious authorities banned the Book of Jubilees. It revealed that divine justice operates through predictable mathematical systems rather than arbitrary religious authority. That Mastema's corruption follows identifiable patterns rather than mysterious spiritual forces, and that ultimate restoration comes through celestial mechanics rather than institutional mediation. The calendar wasn't just about when to celebrate festivals. It was the key to understanding the mathematical foundation of all reality, the precise timing of cosmic justice, and the systematic nature of divine mercy itself.